Okay, this is a short video on how to tell the difference between the patterns. Before you go and try and actually use these theorems, side, 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 etc., you have to know what they each look like. Once you know what they look like, then you'll start to be able to tell two triangles are congruent using those patterns. But first, you need to tell what they look like. First off, if we look in just one triangle, we should be able to see either a side, 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 angle, side, etc., any of those patterns. If we just look in one triangle. When you actually go and use these, you're going to need to use two triangles at once. But first, you should just look at it in one triangle. So I organized them this way, where side, side, side's at the top, because side, side, side is the only one that has three sides. And you'll notice as they go down, each time it has one less side and one more angle. So the two options for two sides and one angle are SAS and ASS, but ASS does not work. ASS is a broken test. We can talk later about why it's broken, but it's important to know at first that it is a broken test. It doesn't work. So only SAS works. Then, as you go down to having two angles and one side, these are the two options. And then, of course, when you have all angles, there's only one option. So let's take a look at how to recognize each one. And when you have all angles, by the way, this is the angle, angle, angle test, which also doesn't work. So if we're talking side, 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 this one's very easy to recognize. All you have is three sides that are marked as congruent. Now, in the actual thing, these would be marked congruent to three sides in some other triangle, but we are not applying that yet. We just need to be able to recognize the pattern. If you see three sides that are all marked as congruent, then you know that this is a side, side, side pattern. This one's easy. The harder ones is when you get into ones with, say, two sides and one angle. So if we have two sides and one angle, for example, like this, how can we tell whether it is SAS or ASS? Well, what you look for is the visual right here. In SAS, the angle is neatly nestled directly between, also known as included between the two sides, whereas in ASS, the angle is excluded. It's not friends with one of the sides. It's friends with this side, but the angle is not friends with the other side. That would be angle, side, 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 angle, side, side. In this case, think about which one you have. Is the angle, which is right here, is it directly in between this side and this side? As in, is it in this corner? Well, of course it's not, because it's not in this corner. It's this corner. The in-between one, there's only one option, would be here. So this pattern that we see right here, this is an angle side side pattern, which if we get this, we know is a broken test, doesn't work. So the answer would be none of the above in this kind of question. If instead I had this one, then this would be, well, the angle is now neatly nestled in between the two sides that are marked, which means this one is side, angle, side. I see a lot of people accidentally doing something like ASA, right? Remember, ASA can only be used if there's two angles that are marked. This one only has a single angle that's marked, which means it cannot be ASA. It must be SAS. I'll do a few more examples so you can try this out in your head, but let's do this. First, we see it's two sides and one angle, and the angle is between them. So the answer is SAS. Another one, see if you can get this one right, is if I mark this angle, this side, and this side. Well, that is the angle is not directly in between the two sides, because that would be over here. And so this one is two sides and an angle, but not in between, so it's angle, side, side, which again is broken. Okay, so hopefully you were able to try a couple of those out, practice some more on my open math to see if you can tell the difference between SAS and ASS. Just note that SSA is sometimes used. I prefer the ASS because it's very clear that this is an inappropriate word, which allows you to remember that it's wrong. But SSA and ASS mean the same thing. It doesn't matter if you reverse them. All right, now let's see ones where it's one side and two angles. So if I have an angle, another angle that's marked, and then a side that's marked. Now I see one side and two angles there and there. So I now have to decide which one it is between AAS and ASA. And both of those tests work, but I have to see which one it is. In this case, again, I'm looking for, is the side nestled in between the two angles, that is included, or is the side not friends with one of the angles, excluded? And in this case, I'm looking at the side, which is this piece right here. And I'm trying to see, does it touch both angles? Is it friends with both angles? The answer is it's friends with this one, but it is not friends with this one. So the answer is no. This one, this side and angle are opposite from each other. So this side is not friends with both of them. It is excluded. The two angles are having fun hanging out with this side over here, not with this lonely side over here. So this one is angle, angle, side. Angle, angle, side. If instead I mark this one, well, now the side is included between both of those two angles. They're all in a row. So it's angle, side, angle. Try a couple, see if you can predict what I'm going to say for this next one. Here are our two angles, and here is our side that's marked. This one is angle, angle, side, because the side is not the one that connects those two angles. What if I did this? You're right, that's angle, side, angle, because the side is directly in between the two angles. They connect. So when you're doing this, what you need to do, sorry, the bell's going off. What you need to do is check.
Disregard that bell.
What you need to do is check how many of each one you have. So let's say I give you a random one. It now could be any of these. That one appears to have 3 angles, which means it only has one option. It's got to be this one, angle, 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 which is broken. This one has 2 angles and a side, which means it's got to be either AAS or ASA. Again, AAS is the same thing, by the way, as SAA, but it's generally written this way, with the angles coming first. In general, if you have a choice, the angle comes first. If you have a choice, the A comes first. I don't know why it's that way, it just is. So this one is going to be one of these two. So you decide 2 angles. It's going to be one of these. Which one? Well, is the side between the 2 angles or not? It is not, because this side would be the one between the 2 angles. So this is angle, angle, side. Do a couple more. I mark this one and this one being congruent, as well as this side. The 2 angles do not have a side in between them, so it's angle, angle, side. Let's say I do this one. There are 2 sides and an angle, so it's got to be SAS or ASS. The angle appears to be kind of by its lonesome. It's touching this side, but not this side. So this one is angle, side, side, which is broken. The side is not in between the 2 angles in this example. Which one do you think this is? That's right, side, angle, side. Again, 2 sides and an angle. Never see 2 sides and an angle and think, oh, it's ASA, because that doesn't make any sense. You don't have two angles to work with. You need two sides and an angle in your answer if you see two sides and an angle marked. That's basically how to tell the difference between them. And if you got questions, send me an email or talk to me during class.